the What It Takes radio company, helping you reach your audience and connecting with them. We present a program today from the Impact Zone. Make good friends, grow your audience, be an influencer, and put service over self. And a story of someone who did just that. Daniel Penny should be the person of the year. And do you want to be a penny man? Let's talk about that. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stan, and today the radio man, the coach man, is Stan from the Impact Zone. That's right, another one of our zones that we go into from time to time. And this is based on the idea that we are in the business of trying to help you gain interesting ideas, some insight, some influence, so that you can make an impact, because impact drives income. And income is not just money. In fact, oftentimes it's not money at all. It's good things, maybe even great things that will come to you, that will be incoming to you. So that will be a continuing story. Yes, you got the title right, and I was struck by it as I put it together. Yes. I think I want to be a penny man. That's right. Daniel Penny should be perhaps the person of the year. Let me tell you some of the stories and some of the ideas behind that. First of all, when I was 16, I was selected to be a penny man, I found out. Because what I've discovered that Mr. Charles Helms, who was the manager of the local J.C. Penney store in the growing up town in central Iowa, saw me and came up to me and said, Stanley Paul, how old are you? And I said, well, I'm 15, sir. And he said, well, when you're 16, I want you to come over to the store and let's talk about you working for me in the penny store. And actually, that's what I did. And it turned out to be one of the more significant appointments in my life. I did work for Mr. Penny. He was an incredible mentor. He was a gentleman. He was a retail genius and a fine Christian gentleman. He was everything. Well, I found out that there was a reason behind that too, besides the fact that he wanted my job. He had actually been mentored by J.C. Penney himself. Now, that's dating all of us, isn't it? And the job of a penny manager was not just to actually run the store, but it was to search out new and upcoming talent. And he was hoping that someday I would become what they called a penny man. Yeah. Somebody who would make their mark in the retail career and work their way up to a leadership position within the penny chain of stores. That didn't happen, but we remained good friends. I learned a whole lot of it. It's just that I felt I had other callings, though from time to time, I oftentimes, when I needed a little extra work, went back to the local penny store and say, hey, I'm Stan, and I worked for Charles Helms, and I could like a little part-time work. And as soon as the manager heard the name Charles Helms, he offered me a job on the spot. And I found out that the man was so well respected that if I was recommended by him, and as a result, I was able to pick up occasionally extra work just by simply working part-time as a penny man, though I didn't make the career. Well, that's part of the story that struck me, as I obviously have, like the world now, seen the situation of Daniel Penny in New York City. And isn't it ironic that the news today and yesterday was all about two 26-year-old men? That's right. Mangione, the man who is now being suspected and charged with the murder of the United Healthcare CEO right in the middle of downtown Manhattan. He's 26 years of age, and he's wrecked his life. At the same time, the one who's being called the hero was finally acquitted. And most of us could not believe what a travesty it was. Daniel Penny is also 26 years old. And most of us know the story. He was a Marine, you know, guy grew up, went and joined the Marine Corps, and now is done and is going back to college. And like lots of people, he's riding the subway in New York City. And of course, he sees this guy go kind of crazy. And that that happens quite often. Those of you who've been in a subway situation know that it's sometimes scary because those kind of people are around. And what happened is this a 30-year-old man, obviously a man who's homeless and has mental and other kinds of problems and has a criminal history, is out there, and he comes in and people are scared, they're threatened, and he grabs him. He's a tall man, a strong man, a young man. He grabs him and holds him down until the police come, and everybody is so grateful. And bingo, wonderful. And he goes off and makes his statement to the police. And then a few days later, the district attorney, a real creep, yeah, Alvin Bragg, charges him with manslaughter, with homicide. And for the next year and a half, his life is in chaos. And he goes through that trial. And we all know the story. And there were people saying, yes. And oftentimes it was because they said it was a racial thing. So they were saying, convict him. And then, of course, there was perhaps the great majority of people who said, that's what we want. And we didn't know. He might not be acquitted. He might be convicted. Who knows what crazy things could happen? But he was acquitted, and I, along with many people, celebrated it, though, of course, there were some people, and it tended to be because it was possibly a racial thing, are still saying, no, we're still after him. One of the things that caught me, I've ridden the New York City subway a lot of the times. I have a daughter who lives in New York, and so we go there. And if you want to get around New York, driving a car is, it's either the bus or it's the subway, and the subway is the fastest way. And I remember when I actually rode that same train that he was on, and it is such a diversity. It just struck me. I don't know why it struck me, but I got on the train, and there I was, a white man. And I looked around, and I found out that I was the only white man on that car. I mean, the diversity of people, children and women and men, but they were of all, shades, colors, and ethnic diversities. That doesn't mean that it's terribly unusual, but I just happened to notice that. I was the only one who wouldn't be eligible for some equal opportunity thing, and so he became the hero, and hopefully he will be known, as I would say, the man of the year. And we've all heard about, what a class act. Walks like a man, tall, strong, stoic, brave. And he even says, well, if I had to do it over again, I'd do it over again, because I couldn't live with myself if I hadn't done that, and if he'd gotten free from somebody and he actually went off and hurt or killed somebody and I hadn't stepped in, I would feel guilty about that. Obviously, we're dealing with a very fine young man who now will go back and perhaps finish his education. And he wants to be an architect, but he was not only a Marine, he's also very much a classical music. I mean, a very unique personal man. And not complaining, he is going to carry on his life. And I hope that he will get some of the commendation and the reward that he deserves, and that his life will not be wrecked or ruined by people who still want to threaten him because of what happened. Yep, uh, I want to be a lot like him. I hope I am. I would hope that every young man would look at Daniel Penny and say, yeah, I'd like to be like him. I want to be the kind of man who protects women, protects children, who will take the risk of caring for somebody else, of actually putting my own life and my own reputation and my own work at risk in order to help and serve others. We need more men and women and people like that. I could not believe that that character, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, said that because of what he did, the subways are now more dangerous. What a fool she is. Hopefully, now the people of New York will say we have to deal and help homeless and mentally ill people. We have to be strong about dealing and doing a better work with mental illness, which is plaguing, with the drug situation, which is aggravating, with the homeless situation, which is aggravating. We're going to make the city a world-class city again. I would hope the people of New York would do that. And I would hope that that there would be lots of young men who would step forward and say, that's the kind of man I want to be. A real man, a man who cares for others. Yeah, a bit of a prejudgment is I've oftentimes said that if a man will be a real man, most women won't have any problem with that. And I still believe that, and hopefully I can live it out. So there we go. Thank you for your time. But let's pray. Pray for him. Pray for the family that suffers. And even it was unique to see that the family of the 26-year-old man who is now suspected of murder, and of course is probably guilty of murder, that in their statement, this family in Baltimore says that we are devastated. Of course they are, by what has happened or what the trail for their son. And they said that they requested our prayers. That's what they said. Please pray for us. And you know what? They asked for it, and I will do that. And I hope you will join too. Lord, bless us and keep us all safe, and help us to celebrate the season, which celebrates the fact that God has some unique and powerful ways to come into our life. And hopefully we will have comfort and joy, and that we will live a life that we can say to each other, Merry, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. All the best and blessings. Go out there and make an impact, just like Mr. Penny did. Truly an impact player. There we go. All the best. Till next time, I'm Stan. Bye for now.